What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we are going to be doing a new recipe that I have never tried but I'm super excited about. So y'all stick around and we're going to jump straight into this new recipe. What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Tonight it's going to be something, we're going to do something a little bit different. We haven't done a cooking video here on the channel in a hot minute. And today here in Georgia, it is kind of rainy and gloomy. Not necessarily cold, but just kind of rainy, foggy, and gloomy. And so I wanted a quick and easy recipe for some venison. I love my venison, but sometimes it's hard to incorporate that into my daily routine. And so I try to find some easy ways to incorporate venison into my week and into my meals. And so I was doing some scrolling through Facebook today. I can't take credit for the recipe that I found, but it's called Busy Day Soup. And so obviously, we've been having a very busy day. If you can't tell by all the stuff behind me on the counter, Cade, our littlest, had made an appearance, and like I said in the last video, on December 28th. And so we are full-fledged into trying to figure out the parenting thing. And so we are definitely tired, and it is definitely busy days. And so this soup looks super easy, looks super laid back, didn't look like it was going to take a lot of effort to get done. And so I'm interested to see how it turns out. Obviously it calls for ground beef, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna substitute that for venison. Instead of, you could use either ground venison, but tonight I'm actually gonna use sausage, ground sausage, venison sausage, which is what I had in my freezer. So you can use any type of ground meat you have, but I wanted to incorporate venison into my soup tonight, so that's what we're going to do. The venison I have is still over in the sink thawing a little bit, so while that finishes thawing and we throw it in the pan, I'm just going to kind of run you through what this soup has in it. It's a super simple recipe. It has 5 ingredients, 6 if you count the water that we're going to include in it. So I'm just going to run you through these recipe, or the items we're going to put in this soup, and then we will dive into getting everything ready to go. First off, we're going to start with our venison. I have 1 pound of ground sausage, venison sausage. You could use ground venison as well, but 1 pound of that. Then we're going to be using 2 cups of a mixed veggie of some kind. These are just the frozen mixed veggies that I got at our local store. They're not frozen right now. They've been sitting out for a little bit. But about 2 cups of those mixed veggies we're gonna add in. We're gonna also use 1 packet of the Lipton Recipe Secrets onion soup or dip packet. You can, again, I found those pretty close to the freezer section. In the soup section, you'll find that. So we're going to use that as well as 2 cans of diced tomatoes. It calls for 28 ounces of tomatoes. I just happen to have the smaller cans with me tonight. But that works to my favor because I want to use 2 different kinds. I'm just going to use regular diced tomatoes for 1 can, but then I'm also going to use a can of diced tomatoes with jalapenos for the other. I like my chilies and my soups to be a little spicy, so that's going to incorporate some of that spice into that. And then we're going to add 1 cup of, I don't know if y'all can see that, I'm trying not to spill it, but elbow macaroni noodles. I've already got that measured out and ready to go. But we're going to use a cup of that, and then we're going to add, like I said, the water that we're going to use. We're just going to use 5 cups of water in this soup to kind of get it going. So super simple and easy recipe. I'm curious to see how it comes out because if it comes out well, it's one of those recipes that you could throw in the crock pot in the morning before you go to work, and it would be ready by the time you got home. Or if you're like me and you're ready for dinner and you're just waiting for it to finish cooking, you can throw it on a pot on the stove, which is what we're going to do tonight. And hopefully it doesn't take too long. We'll see how it turns out. But I'm going to go over here, check the ground beef, and get it in a pan, and we will get this recipe started. Alright guys, so we have moved the camera around to the stove. That way y'all can kind of see what's going on. I have my thawed ground venison right here, ready to go. It may still be partially frozen, but that pan is going to be hot enough. It should finish it off in the thawing process. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take this, dump this straight in there. Man, I love the color of that venison. Whether it be ground venison or venison sausage. When you break it open, it kind of has that dull color on the outside, but man, you get the color of that venison for sure. I don't know if that's focusing or not, but on the inside of that meat, and it is so beautiful. Reminds me of when you clean that animal. That meat's just so dark and clean and pure. So what we're gonna do is we are going to get this going. The pan is heating up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over to a time lapse. That way it doesn't take us 15 minutes to get this thing cooked. So y'all will get the quick version, and then we'll jump back in once we get this meat finished sauteing. All right, so we just finished up getting this all sauteed, or I guess brown. Sauteed probably was, it's not the right word for that. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this eye off as it is finishing up. Looks nice and brown. I'm gonna come over here and grab some paper towels, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and drain this grease off, because I'm trying not to get as much, I'm trying to eat as healthy as I can. And so I don't want all this grease and fat to make this soup nice and greasy and have a film on top when you're trying to eat it. So we're gonna try and get as much of this off as we can, just using a simple paper towel. Try to sop up as much of this grease as we possibly can. Then when your paper towel gets wet, there we go. We're gonna grab a few more. Just gonna keep doing this until no more grease shows up. And then we're going to start assembling this soup, which I think, from looking at the recipe and everything, this should be the hardest part, is browning your meat, which if that's the hardest part of a meal, I say that's a bonus. So, but we will see if that's actually the case. I have yet to actually finish this recipe. There we go. All right, there we go. Very little grease still left in that pan. So we are good with that. And now we're going to flip back around. This eye is off. I'm going to pull it off to the back. That way it doesn't keep cooking, because that eye is still hot. But we're going to flip back around. Actually, we're not going to flip back around. We're just going to pull this over, and we're going to do the assembly right here, since the camera's already in this position. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our ground venison. We're going to dump that in. Now, the recipe had no instructions whatsoever on how to do it, how to combine it, how to do anything of that sort, or how long to cook it. So we are totally going to be winging this recipe, except for what goes in the actual recipe. So we are going to, I'm trying to open these cans up, open up our tomatoes, and get them ready to go in. Like I said, I'm using 2 cans. All you need is 28 ounces of tomatoes in total. I'm choosing to put one in that has some jalapenos in it, because I like some spice in my soups and in my chilies. But there, we're putting in our jalapeno tomatoes, and then now we're going to add in our can of regular diced tomatoes, as well as we're going to open up our veggies. And I'm eyeballing these veggies because I'm not afraid to have a few extra veggies in this soup. This is probably a little bit over 2-3 cups in here, but we're going to add in, let's say, it's probably about 3/4 of that bag. So we're going to add that in there. Now we're going to go with our Lipton onion soup packet. Dump that over all of this. And then I'm going to grab, let's see, 5 cups of water. Real quick. So like I said, you could easily put this recipe in a crock pot before you head to work, or if you've got a busy day. I mean, the recipe title is Busy Day Soup. So if you've got a busy day and you're going to be at home all day and you just want a meal that you don't have to really do a lot of prep work on, then this might be the meal for you. Throw it in a crock pot, brown your meat off the night before or that morning, brown it, and throw it in a crock pot, and you'd be good to go for the day. So I've got in here 5 cups of water. I went ahead and measured it out over by the sink. That way I wasn't running back and forth with a little measuring cup. So we're going to add that 5 cups of water into the soup. That eye's still hot, so some of it's dropping in on it. There we go. 5 cups of water in the pot. And what we're going to do is we're going to give it a nice stir to mix all this stuff up into it, considering we put the water in towards the end. All right, so there's that. And then last but not least, we're going to throw in our macaroni noodles. I figured these are going to be one of the key things that we're looking for on time, on how long it's going to cook. Obviously, we're going to let it simmer for a good little bit to kind of reduce down, but also we're going to be relying on these noodles to be done to tell us a good sign as to when this soup's good to be eaten. Nobody wants crunchy macaroni noodles, but we're going to throw those in there. Alright you guys, so here's the finished product. We got us a nice bowl of it. It's still boiling in the background, but we let it boil for about 45 minutes. I'm trying to see if that's going to focus for you. About 45 minutes. You can let it keep boiling a little bit longer if you wanted to, but the noodles are done after about 45 minutes, as well as the veggies de-thawed. So there's a nice close-up look at it. And I'm going to get the GoPro set back up on the tripod, and I will give it a taste and let you guys know what I think about it. So, but there's a good looking bowl of soup, if I don't say so myself, for literally, I don't know, an hour at the most prep time. But all right, so final product. Y'all just saw the bowl. It's really hot. I'm not going to try and show it to you again, but soup took literally 45 minutes to cook. Really, it was very simple. Like I said, you could have kept letting it boil if you wanted it to reduce down more, but also you're going to want to put a lid on it if you do that, so that way you don't lose all your liquid, because if you keep letting it boil, your liquid's going to get less and less, and it's going to be less liquidy like a soup and a little more like a chili. That's kind of the way this one turned out, but I'm totally okay with that. It is still super hot, steaming. But mainly the goal is you're wanting your noodles to get cooked, and you're wanting, if your veggies are frozen, you're wanting your veggies to thaw out. And then just allow everything to kind of come together flavor-wise. I did add a pinch of salt beforehand or after I turned the camera off. As I was stirring it over that 45 minutes, I did just add a pinch of salt, and I think that's going to help with the flavor. But let's see what it tastes like. I'm going to try not to burn my mouth. I'm notorious for burning my mouth on food because I'm impatient. My wife's agreeing in the background. Sorry if y'all hear any noises. I think while I was showing y'all the bowl of soup, Cade decided he was gonna be cranky and make some noise in the background, but I guess that's life nowadays since we do have a little one running around. So he's gonna make a grand appearance at one day on the channel, but he was trying to make that this evening. But we're gonna see if this is cooled off enough. I'm gonna try and keep talking until it cools off because it is steaming hot. It was boiling just a few minutes ago. But got a noodle, some meat, some veggies, and then some tomatoes. Let's see what it tastes like. It's a very simple soup. I will say, but it has a ton of flavor for the amount of time that it cooked. Like for instance, if I was to do a deer chili or something like that, I would let it cook for hours upon hours to kind of render down and let all those different seasonings meld together. But this has literally been on for 45 minutes, and the liquid has good flavor. Initially, when I put that onion packet in there, it smelled like overwhelmingly like onion, obviously. And so as it started to cook, I thought, man, this is going to be really overpowering with onion just because of how concentrated that soup packet is. But it really doesn't really overpower it once you let it kind of simmer down and come together with the other flavors. It kind of really just gives it a nice little hint of onion in there. Might want to add a little bit of more salt, pepper to taste. But you got the noodles, you got the veggies. And so if you're looking for a quick meal one evening, especially if you're trying to incorporate some venison into your diet, I encourage you, just take a recipe that calls for ground beef and then substitute ground venison or ground venison sausage, anything like that. Anything ground beef is used for, you can use venison for. So that's something I'm trying to work on myself. Is incorporating that venison into my daily diet more so often. And so if you're looking for a recipe to throw on in a crock pot or for a quick and easy dinner one night, this is a super easy way, and you can't even tell that there's venison in there. So if you have somebody in your family that doesn't like venison, try serving them this and just see if they know the difference. I don't think they will. But guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. We're gonna have some more cooking videos coming. Winter's kicking in, deer season's coming to a close here in Georgia. My county has a couple more days, a week or so of extended bow season. So we'll see if we can't contact one of those deer with our bow in the next couple weeks. But deer season's coming to a close. We've got fishing videos coming up. We've got cooking videos. It was too gloomy and rainy to get out on the Pit Boss or the Blackstone today. So we tried a super simple, easy, fast recipe to incorporate some venison into our meal. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a try. If you like the recipe or if you have a recipe for ground venison that you've tried, drop it in the comment section below. I would love to try some new recipes for whether it be ground venison or ground venison sausage. Definitely looking forward to trying some new recipes. So if y'all have them, drop them in the comment section down below. But as always, guys, no matter what you're doing, we just want to make sure you're all in, and we will catch you in the next video. See you guys.